Well, hello everybody. So I will be telling my secret sessions story or my experience. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, and since we've already reached my 1 year mark since it's happened, I thought it was best to finally record and tell my story and for people to finally hear my side. And I still get asked from people from my hometown what happened, how'd you get chosen? So I thought well, this would be a great opportunity to tell you all, so you guys can hear it from my voice and actually see my facial expressions. So yeah, I guess I should start with my DM. I got my DM on Sunday, October 22nd, and it was on Twitter. And it was a really interesting weekend. That weekend I got the DM because I wasn't in my hometown. I had planned a little concert trip to San Antonio and to Austin. I saw The Weeknd and Justin Timberlake that weekend. So it was this really exciting weekend, and it turned out to be an even better weekend because of my DM. So yeah, Saturday, me and my friends, we went to the concert. We got back at 2 in the morning, and I had every means to sleep in. So I put my alarm at 12 in the afternoon for Sunday, and then we were gonna plan to drive back home, and I live 4 hours away from San Antonio. So yeah, so at 12 when my alarm went off, I went to my phone to turn off the alarm, and that's when I saw the notification on my phone that said Taylor Nation confidential message, and I screamed loud. I woke up my friend, and then I woke up my cousin, and then my other friend came in because I literally screamed that loud, and they're like what happened? And I'm just with my phone, handshaking like this, and I'm hyperventilating, couldn't even form the words to say. But I finally got to say that Taylor Nation has just messaged me, and they're freaking out. I was freaking out. I called my mom. I was Mom, that she didn't really understand, but I was this means something. This might be a secret sessions. I might meet her. And so prior to all this, the London, Rhode Island, and LA secret sessions had already happened. So I kind of had a feeling there has to be a Nashville one or a New York one. So this could be this invite, but I don't want to get my hopes up yet. But yeah, that rest of the day, I was just so numb, my body, my I just couldn't express any emotion. I couldn't cry, I couldn't I was excited, but I couldn't express how excited I was. It just felt so surreal. I couldn't believe that I had gotten a DM from Taylor Nation. I've seen and read so many people's stories about getting that special DM, and I just couldn't believe that was me. I'm now experiencing this. And one of the main reasons why I was so shocked was because for those of you that don't know, Taylor always interacts with her fans online. She's always reblogging their Tumblr posts, or liking them, or liking their pictures on Instagram. She had been really silent on Twitter, and I'm a stan Twitter. I have a Tumblr, but I don't even know how to use it, so I can't get her attention on there. So I only have one Twitter account, which is my personal one, but I always talk about her all the time on there. And before the sessions, I only had maybe 200, 300 followers. So and these were people from my hometown. So I just didn't I've never got noticed by Taylor. So it's how could she know who I am, or how did I how am I getting this DM if I've never been popular online by her, or even by Taylor Nation? Taylor Nation usually likes people's tweets and stuff. I've never got a like from them either. So it was just I couldn't believe it. And so anyways, I replied to their DM, which they asked for your information. They say oh, we've noticed what a great fan you are. We want to get more information, and reply with this. And so I did, and it was just playing the waiting game. So I was so anxious and nervous, and So a couple hours later, I think it was like around 6 or 7 in the evening, my friends and I went to go eat, and we were waiting for our table at the restaurant, and I got a phone call and it said New York, New York on the caller ID. And I was like, this has to be them, because New York, that's where Taylor's from, that's where she lives, where like one of her places where she lives. So I was like, I stormed out of the restaurant, and so I was like, hello, and they're like, hi Marcus, and I'm like, yeah, hi. They're like, hi, this is so-and-so from Taylor Nation, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm good. And they're just like, great, like, so we have this really exciting opportunity for you, and we want you to come. They're like, can you be in Nashville this Wednesday? I was like, yes. Like, yeah. And I had to work that Wednesday. I didn't even know how I was gonna get to Nashville, because I'm from Texas. Like, that's long, far away from Texas. But I was like, yeah, I can be there. And so they're like, great. So they like asked me some other questions about like if I like ran and like if I worked for like a newspaper or worked for like people who like blog or serious bloggers or something, just because this is such a confidential event and we're going to be like hearing her album before it's released. Like, you know, they just want to make sure it's like nothing's going to get leaked, or like, and just make sure I'm not going to say anything. And so then they were like, okay, well, we're going to send you a confirmation email probably within the next 24 hours, and then we'll see you on Wednesday. And I'm like, okay, great. And by then it was kind of starting to feel a little real. I called my mom, and she was like, holy shit, like, this is happening. And I'm like, yeah, like, this is the secret sessions. Like, I'm going to meet Taylor. And my friends cried. We're there. Like, we're just all emotional. And so we booked my flight, and I wanted to arrive a day earlier just so that I, like, because I didn't know what time, like, we had to be there and stuff. So I got to Nashville on Tuesday, and so, like, that gave me, like, the whole day to kind of, like, explore the city, but it was super cold, and I wasn't ready because I wasn't in my hometown, so I had to fly from San Antonio. So I didn't have anything but a t-shirt and, like, a light jacket. But I did go downtown, and I did see the Country Music Hall of Fame. I saw her dress, and I went to the Taylor Swift Education Center, and so that was pretty cool to do in her hometown where she got discovered. So then we get to Wednesday, and which is the actual day, and I wake up, and that's when it like finally hit me, like, wow, it's happening today. I just started crying. I was there in my hotel room bed, like, bawling my eyes out, like hysterically crying, because it was like, your dream's coming true today. And it just, yeah, like, insane. So I got ready, and then we had to meet at a location, which was at a Hilton hotel in downtown Nashville. They gave us like this like secret code check-in named, so that way they knew who we were and where we were there for, because we couldn't necessarily go in the hotel and be like, hi, I'm here for Taylor Swift secret sessions, and then, you know. So we went in, we went up to the elevator, and we were meeting in like this meeting room. So when I got to the room, there was already people, like a good like 20-30 people in the room already. And this is like the really cool, unique part of like the beginning part of the sessions, because you're in the room with like fans from all over the states, and we're all there for the same reason. We all like have the same love, obsession, and like feeling towards Taylor, and it just was really cool because you don't really know anybody around you, but everybody there is just so nice and wants to know your story. And like, so we were all there like making friends and asking each other's like ats and like phone numbers and taking pictures of our wristband. And so this is where I shout out to Michaela, Kara, Amanda, and Megan. I love you, because you guys are the ones I spent my whole night with, and mwah, I love you. So yeah, we're there, we're waiting, and so they were like, okay, we're gonna start like loading you guys on the bus. So they took a big group on the first big group first, and I was in the next group. And so what kind of sucked during this time was because that bus that took the first group, I think that bus was going to come back to pick us up, but they got stuck in traffic. So it took like, I want to say like an hour for them to get back to us to pick us up. So that kind of like sucked, but it was okay. I still got to talk there with everybody and like get to know more people. But we were obviously like so anxious, like we want to be there already. So flash forward, they finally pick us up, we go, and I had already known that she had an apartment in Nashville, but I also know her mom lives in Nashville, so we didn't know where we were going. And at one point on the bus ride, they were like, oh my god, Taylor's apartment, but we like passed it, so I was like, okay, we're not going to her apartment, we're probably going to her mom's house, we're gonna go to Andrea's house. And sure enough, we get there and it's like this big long white house and like gated, and the gates open for us, and it's like the gates to heaven. And we pull up, we park, and then somebody from Taylor Nation comes in the bus and they're like, hey, okay, so they're filming you all, so make sure you act excited. And we're like, act like we're gonna be excited, like so we like ran off the bus, and then they were like, okay, well, welcome to the secret sessions, and we screamed. And then they like, obviously there was security, so they had to like check us because we weren't allowed to take anything. And then we get escorted to her backyard. The backyard is like beautiful. It's like there's like a pool, and it looked like a guest house also in the backyard. I don't know what it was. And tons of tables and like food everywhere. There was Chick-fil-A nuggets and like some type of pizza thing, I don't know what it was, and like fruits, and yeah, so I didn't eat much because I was like really nervous, but I did eat like maybe like 5 chicken nuggets. And so yeah, we're like mingling with other people that were there, obviously. And then her dad was there, and I was like, oh my god, it's Scott. Like, I have never met Scott before. I've met her mom on the 1989 tour, but I've never met her dad. So I was like, oh my gosh. So everybody just crowded him because when you meet Scott, you're gonna get a guitar pick. So he had already ran out of some, but luckily I guess he saved like a couple. So I got 2 Reputation guitar picks, and then he also gave me 2 1989 guitar picks. So yeah, he was there talking to some of us for a while, and then he went, I guess he like disappeared. And then so then they take us inside the house. So we walk into we go in through a door, and it's like a long hallway, and we end up in like this big living room. The house smelled amazing, and the living room is like completely empty, but they have a bunch of like dog beds all over the floor, and like throw blankets and pillows, and then like a chair at the end, and everything is just surrounding that chair, which is obviously where Taylor's gonna sit. And there was like chairs along the edge of the room, and so I was towards the end part of the group or the crowd going in. So like by the time I got inside the living room, most of the floor was already taken, so I was gonna end up being in the back. But I didn't want to sit on the floor because I was like, well, I'm way back here, like she's not gonna see me, I'm not gonna be able to see her. So I was like, well, there's chairs behind me, I'm gonna sit on this chair. This might be the best idea ever, because guess what, I'm gonna be above everybody. She's gonna have a clear view of me, I'm gonna have a clear view of her, and it's just gonna be an awesome experience for the both of us. So I sat on those chairs, and I don't even know how long we waited, but then I want to say her parents walked in, and we were all screaming, and then Taylor Swift comes in the room, and we're like losing our minds, we're all screaming, and then she's like Abigail is here, and then Abigail comes out, and we're screaming for her, and Abigail's her best friend from the song 15, for those of you that don't know. And then she's like, newly married, and she goes like that, and we're like screaming, and they're like dancing to our screams. Like, it was so cute. So then she sits down on the couch chair, and she's like, well, welcome to the secret sessions. She starts telling us what these sessions are about, and told us that it's an honor to have us in that room with her, that she's been stalking us for over a year on our Twitter, our Tumblr, our Instagrams. I'm like, oh my god, she like, what? Like, that means she might have been stalking my Twitter? Like, what? So then, okay, so now we get to like the whole like Oh, and then her mom like was passing out water bottles, and it was so cute. Like I like yelled to her, "Thank you," and then she's like, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So she blew me a kiss, her mom, and then I got the water bottle. I have it somewhere; it's safekeeping. And then there's like tissues all over the room for people that were gonna cry, and I was like, so I made sure I had some because I'm pretty sure I was gonna cry. And then yeah, so then she was about to place the album, but then she was like, well, like, I know you guys know the Ready for It music video comes out tomorrow or like the next day. So she's like, well, how about I show you guys the music video? So that was pretty cool because we saw the music video before it came out. And then she started playing us the album, and this is where like the lengthy part of the night was, because she wasn't just like playing like the song, you know, like, okay, next song, you know, she was taking her time, like explaining every detail behind this album, behind each song, like the production, the lyrics, the stories, the secrets behind the songs. So like, hence the secret session. So this is where it was really cool to like hear each individual story and each song. When Look What You Made Me Do played, we obviously knew that song, so we had like a little mini dance party. She turned off the lights and we were all dancing, and I was dancing in the back with like some of my friends, and she came and like we were like in a little like huddle, and she was like dancing with us. Yeah, that was so cool. And then of course she continues playing the album, and which this was like the really cool, unique thing I really liked about it was because like every time, like, you know, she's sitting there on the chair and she's like singing the lyrics, like, you know, and like dancing, but as she's doing that, she's like looking at every single person in the room, trying to give everybody eye contact and kind of give everyone that like little moment. And I swear she looked at me at least like once or twice, and I would be like, and she'd be like, you know, and I was like, ah, like, so I thought that was really cool because like, she was trying to like have a special connection with everybody. And yeah, she's a sweetheart. And then I would glance at her mom and her dad and Abigail, and they're like singing along, and just like their faces looking at her. It was really cute. Then like around this time too, like they were passing out the Reputation magazine, so we got to see that. She showed us some merch that was going to be like launched on her website, I think, but like within the next couple of days, so we got to see that as well. And then we get towards the end of the album, which was for New Year's Day. And this is where like it got very emotional, because like she starts talking about the song, and then the lyrics itself, like, hold on to the memories, they'll hold on to you. Hearing that in Taylor Swift's living room with a bunch of people, we're all crying. Her mom was crying, I started crying, and it was just a beautiful moment to like hear those lyrics and kind of like reach the end. It just, yeah. So you know, so the album's done, and then she's like, well, I'm gonna see you all very, very soon. So this is pretty much the part where people start like getting ready to meet her, to have like one-on-one time. So like, of course, like, so we're like waiting around, and her dad at one point came towards me and like my group, and he was passing out rep cookies and M&Ms that said rep on them, and then he was talking to us for a while about like his favorite song and like the meaning behind it and all that stuff. So that was really cool because he was talking to us for a while. And so yeah, we're like there mingling with other people, waiting. I went to the restroom because I was like, I need to go like use Taylor Swift's restroom, just so I can say I went in Taylor Swift's restroom. And it was like this beautiful gold restroom, like gold everywhere. The soap was like the best smelling soap I've ever washed my hands with, like, yeah. And then so then I started noticing like the numbers of people was getting smaller. So I was like, okay, we're kind of reaching like the end of the night, so maybe it's time for me to go. And somebody from Taylor Nation wasn't like, they weren't like telling people, they weren't like choosing people to go. They were kind of like, oh, like, who wants to go next? And, you know, if you wanted to go, you would go. So I figured it was probably my time to do it. And so I went, and then so I'm waiting there as somebody's meeting her before me. I'm talking to somebody from Taylor Nation, and she's just there trying to like ease the tension and kind of like calm me down. She's like asking questions, and she knew my name. She was like, Marcus, right? And I was like, yeah, how do you know? And she's like, oh, I have your Twitter. And I'm like, how? But I'm like, well, you guys did message me, right? Like, but just for them to remember your face. So then it was my turn to go in. So we go in, it's like another separate room, and there's like a grand piano in the corner of the room. and she's standing there in front of like a fireplace. I think it was a fireplace, and then her wards are like lined up on top, kind of like that. So yeah, and so it's Taylor Swift in front of me, and she's like, and I'm like, I go up to her, and so I'm super short. I'm like 5'2", and she's tall. So I'm tippy-toeing to hug her, and she's like bending down to hug me. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so short. And she's like, no, like, of course not. It's totally okay. She's like, you're just so handsome. And I'm like, excuse you? Like, and then she looks at me and she's like, Marcus? And I'm like literally that was my reaction. I was like, and then she's there like, was that not right? And I'm like, no, that's right. But like, how do you know? Like, and she's like, of course I know. She's like, I've been stalking your Twitter for over a year. And I'm like, and she's like, thank you so much for coming. I know you came a long way. And I'm like, and then she's like, oh my, and she's like, and thank you so much for defending me on Twitter. And she's like, that means so much to me. And I'm like, girl, you don't even know. Like, I'm here for you. Like, and in my mind, like, this is where I'm like, wow, this chick she literally stalked my Twitter. Because like I said, my Twitter is, at the time, I was following like obviously people from my hometown, and they're following me. And it just seemed like every day on my timeline was like a hate tweet towards Taylor, like hate this, hate that, and Taylor this, Taylor that. And I was always the one, like, the only one person in my hometown, like, fighting with people, like, no, Taylor's this, she's the best, she's that, and she's this. And I'm like trying to like state facts and like always defending her online. I've been doing this for years. So the fact that she knew that about me, that's what I was doing on my Twitter, like, she was looking through my Twitter, like, I don't know how long, and for her to remember my face, for her to remember other people's faces and their names and their stories, like, her mind, I don't understand. Her memory is amazing, because I can barely remember somebody I met yesterday. But, yeah, so then, where am I at? I don't even know. So I started, like, telling her thank you, like, for, like, her music, like, for her, like, inspiring me, and for being like this big role model in my life. And like I was like your music has helped me for the past like 10 plus years. Your music has been the soundtrack to my life, all of my breakups. You have been there through all my breakups. She's like, oh, she's like, I know those are hard, and she's like, but I'm glad you're over it. I'm like, yes. And she'd like high five me, and it was just like so cool. And like she was holding my hands the whole time, and sometimes she would like let go and like get her glass of wine and take a sip of her wine and put it back and then like come back and hold my hands. And she was just so engaging, like looking straight into your eyes and like giving your like she's there like listening to everything you're saying. She's not rushing you. She's not like, you know. So then she was like, oh, so do you want to take our picture already? And I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, well, do you want to hold one of my Grammys? And I'm like, can I just hug you? And she's like, oh, of course. And then like, so then we took a picture hugging, and this is where that was born. But I have this one, which is a little bit closer so you guys can see. So look at that hug. Best hug ever. So we were only allowed to take one picture. Well, that's what they told us prior. Like, we were only allowed one. And so after we took that picture, she was like, wait, she's like, do you want to take another one? She's like, I can go down to your height. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like this. And she like kneels down and puts her face against my face. And she's like this. And we're literally talking like this. She's like this. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like yells to the photographer. She's like, we're going to take another one. Like, I want to take another one. I'm like, yes, boss, you know? And then that's where this picture was born. Look at that. Her freaking cheek is on my cheek. Like, so I ended up getting 2 pictures. I freaking love you, Taylor. She might have insulted my height, but I don't care. But yeah, so then like, I started talking to her again like a little bit more. I started like, I told her about like how 1989 helped me get over my parents' divorce. That was a very tough time, and the album kind of came out around the time where it was really, really bad. But the album itself like helped me like accept it and not like, you know, because I felt like the album was very celebratory, and I was telling her like all of that, and she's like, well, I'm really happy for you. I'm proud of you that you were able to be strong and like get through it. And she's like literally giving me advice, and like Taylor Swift is giving me advice. Like she's just talking to me, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, who can say that? You know? So she's there like telling me like how proud she is of me, and like stuff on my relationships, and then stuff back at home with like the family stuff, which is better. Nothing is bad, but at the time it was just like I couldn't like accept it. But the album itself just helped me, and so I was like thanking her for that. And so I was like, wait, so like, can I show you my tattoos? And then she was like, yeah, of course you can. And I'm like, okay. So I have 2 Taylor Swift inspired tattoos. So I showed her my Fearless one. So I was like, you're the first person who's made me feel fearless. And then she's like, oh, Fearless. And I'm like, yeah, it's like my favorite album. And like, you have no idea how much that album means to me, what it's gotten me through, and just like that everything that you've done and inspired through the Fearless name, like I've stand by that. And then I was like, I started telling her about the song Out of the Woods and the meaning behind it, what it means to me, and how like I interpret it with my relationships, and like all of that, like, and how we connect with people, and how we're never out of the woods and all that stuff. So I was like, so I got paper airplanes, and I have that here. And she's like, oh my god, that's so cute, paper airplanes. Oh, and I'm like, I'm glad you love them. And we hugged a couple more times, and then at this point I'm already kind of getting the sense that it's time for me to like stop talking and like let the next person go. Also, like, I couldn't really think of anything else to say. Like, you're in front of Taylor Swift, your mind is just like going. So I was like, so before I go, like, I was like, I have friends back at home and my sister who like love you. And she's like, oh my god, you tell them when you get back that I say hi and to give them a big hug for me. And I'm like, okay, I will. They're gonna like freak. And she's like, great. She's like, well, thank you so much for coming. And I'm like, no, thank you. I was like, I love you so much. And she's like, I love you. And gave each other another hug. And then I left. So somebody from Taylor Nation gives you like a bag, and the bag had merch inside. It had a shirt and a t-shirt, and I said the same thing, a shirt, a keychain, like a sticker, and a cap. And yeah, the night was over, and yeah, just crazy. And I mean, the night itself, I remember I was like on one of the last parts of the group, or the last like people of the night. So like I was like the last bus, so we were just waiting for like the last people to finish. So we didn't get back to like the hotel meetup till like 1 a.m, and so it was so late. And I just turned on my phone, and I had so many notifications, and my mom was freaking out because I was like, oh, I'll call you like when I get out. But it was like 1 a.m. She was like, you're gonna have to text me tomorrow because I'm going to bed. Just hope you're okay. She probably thought I was dead or kidnapped. But yeah, and so that's my story. I look back on it now, and I wish there was more. There's so many things I wish I would have said to her, but at that moment it's just like it's really hard to remember everything, or like I didn't really like go in planning everything out. But so Taylor, if you're watching, thank you so much. Words cannot describe how thankful I am to have you in my life, and for you choosing me to be a part of this experience. Like, for some reason, I'm gonna cry. For some reason, you trusted me. You trusted me with something so personal, like your album. me and other fans to hear this album through 2 weeks, 3 weeks before its release. You wanted to meet me, you wanted to meet us. For some reason, you had that trust in me, and I wasn't gonna let it go, and I just thank you. I'm forever grateful and thankful for that experience, and I'm just so glad that you chose me to experience that with you. I'm gonna hold it forever in my heart, and so I love you so much. Thank you 1,013 times. Mwah, I love you. And thank you for the amazing people you brought into my life. After this, after that night, I've made so many new friends, and it's been the best era ever. For me, it's allowed me to make so many friends from all over the world, and it's because of you, and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm excited for anything or you have in the future for us, or your next chapter. I will be here. I will forever stick by your side and stand up for you and defend you on Twitter. I still do all those things, and I'm gonna love you forever. And yeah, so that's it. I know this was a very lengthy video. I'm sorry. But for those of you that stuck around, thank you. I hope you all enjoyed it. And that's it. Bye. Good night. Peace.